Welcome, everyone, to the Bcamp podcast. We are so lucky today to have with us Ram, who is a healthcare and AI leader and has held multiple roles at different companies and done so much in AI and in healthcare that we're excited to have a conversation with you today, Ram. And let's start out maybe. You are a member of the advisory board of Alert AI. Maybe you can talk a little bit about Alert AI and what you guys are doing there and your role in that company.
Sure. I was recently asked to come on board as a leader of the advisory board for Alert AI. So Alert AI is a young startup in Silicon Valley that was founded by ex-Palo Alto and ex-Cisco security professionals. And the purpose of Alert AI is to create a platform to address cybersecurity needs in the world of Gen AI. There is no such platform available today. Gen AI is growing fast, but cybersecurity is not keeping pace with it. So Alert AI came up with this platform that is specifically designed to anticipate, mitigate, and prevent cybersecurity risks being generated by the use of Gen AI. It's a very dynamic young company, and it's a thrill for me to be part of their team.
Awesome. Well, I'd love to hear a little bit, Ram, about your journey. How did you get into AI? Or how did you get where you are today?
Sure. I started out by getting a degree in chemical engineering at the Indian Institute of Technology 35 years ago, a long time ago, and with a plan to come out to the United States, pursue a master's degree in engineering, which I did, and then spent the last 35 years in the healthcare industry, that is biotech, pharmaceuticals, medical device, diagnostics, helped build and launch a lot of key products in pharma, biotech, and medical device industry, worked in digital leadership roles, worked in quality leadership roles, worked in operations leadership roles. Along the way, I also built a consulting practice many years ago to help guide biotech executives on how best to take advantage of digital opportunities to supercharge their business and get good products to patients cheaper, faster, better. So that's been a fantastic journey. I've always been a student of the latest emerging technology trends. And it so happens that the healthcare industry is behind technology compared to other industries because we only want to use proven technologies because the healthcare industry serves living patients. And so we don't want to bring in a technology that's immature that could cause a problem for a healthcare patient. So in the technology journey, the AI tools, the traditional AI, has been around for almost 50 years, whether it's IBM's natural language processing or the IBM Blue methodologies. They've been around for a long time. We've used them in the healthcare industry. However, Gen AI is the new kid on the block. The power of generative AI is not only being leveraged in the healthcare industry to automate tasks, reduce errors, reduce costs, but also to get new innovative drugs and devices to patients faster. So as a natural progression to my journey in companies like Abbott and Sanofi and Novartis and other global companies, I was asked to take on a responsibility to harness this AI and Gen AI technology in a manner that delivers specific results to get products to patients faster. And so that's how I got involved in AI and Gen AI in the last few years. And when I found a gap in the cybersecurity space, I started asking questions. The cybersecurity framework today in the industry across any function is not able to understand what Gen AI is doing, so it can't protect for risks against Gen AI. And so that led to a number of tech companies reaching out to me saying, would you like to come on to our advisory boards? And I picked Alert because they have a very strong platform that can evolve as fast as Gen AI is evolving. And so my healthcare background, the ability to deliver hard measurable results, and the focus on emerging technology all came together. And so I think for me, it's been a fantastic journey of 35 years. And I like to joke that I never got on these lists of 30 under 30 or 40 under 40. I want to be on the world's first list of 100 over 100. I expect to work for many, many more years. And really, it's so exciting with AI because the potential is unlimited. And it's up to all of us to take those tools and apply it in whatever industry we choose to work in. So it's a very exciting time. And that's kind of how I plan my career. That's how I plan to continue it.
Yeah, I love that. Wanting to be on the list of 100 over 100. That's amazing. So yeah, that sounds like an exciting journey. And I'd be interested to hear, like, you talked a little bit about cybersecurity. Can you talk maybe a little bit, maybe one level deeper about what are some of the specific challenges that you see in cybersecurity for Gen AI?
Sure. So if you think of Gen AI overall, there are three big buckets of challenges I'm addressing. One is definitely the cybersecurity. We'll get a little bit more into it. Another is that, in fact, I just recently released a paper on LinkedIn saying that generative AI is actually generic AI because the Gen AI tools that are being put on the market by the big tech, Microsoft's Copilot, Gemini, Google's Gemini, Anthropic's Claude, ChatGPT from OpenAI. These are tools that are very smart but very generic in the sense they were trained to handle general queries. So one of the biggest challenges is when we take these tools and try to apply them to specific industries like pharmaceutical, like aviation, transportation, government services, these tools are not able to understand the specific language of each industry. So one big challenge with Gen AI is how do we create industry vertical matched Gen AI customized tools that can really quickly understand each industry's unique needs and deliver results? That's one big challenge. I'm working on a startup for that. The second challenge is around industrial controls and code. We never hear about industrial code in the open market, but almost every industry, manufacturing, power generation, logistics, uh, home and facility security, manufacturing, automotive, every single industry runs on old traditional industrial controls, which are not very glamorous, old code, but runs very robustly. The problem is it's very expensive to deliver that code. Every change takes tens of thousands of dollars. Gen AI has the opportunity to be able to understand industrial code and significantly deliver savings, efficiencies, reduction of errors. But today's Gen AI platforms are not able to understand industrial code. That's a massive area of opportunity. So that's something I'm in the process of advising a couple of young Y Combinator entrepreneurs on how to take advantage of that niche. But the third and most urgent challenge with Gen AI is around cybersecurity. The cybersecurity platforms and tools that are running across industries globally, they were never designed to deal with Gen AI. They were designed to deal with AI. The traditional AI works on static data models to provide insights and analysis. Gen AI, however, is an evolving tool. It learns as it goes. As it learns and evolves, its capabilities come at the expense of structural vulnerabilities in its code. So hackers today are figuring out rapidly ways of how can we take this penetrative nature of Gen AI and piggyback on Gen AI to get into organizations past their firewalls and hack into their data centers. If finance is using Gen AI to run metrics on their payroll systems to look for efficiencies, hackers can then piggyback on Gen AI and take a look at who gets paid what and what are the social security numbers in massive corporations. Next thing you know, you're going to have hacks occurring. In the healthcare industry, it's especially dangerous. I don't know if you guys have heard recently that the Scripps healthcare system in San Diego got hacked. Patients couldn't get their electronic medical record access. Insulin pumps implanted in human beings were hacked. So what's happening is cybersecurity tools that are available today were never designed for Gen AI. Gen AI is evolving extremely rapidly. It is designed to penetrate organizations' data networks, learn how the data networks work, and deliver targeted results for each company. But with that penetrative nature and evolving speed come cybersecurity threats that are unforeseen and unplanned for. So today, there is not a single software platform that can truly harness cybersecurity powers and keep Gen AI under control. Such a platform does not yet exist. So this is where this company Alert AI came to my attention because they've actually built a platform that is starting to address that challenge. It may take at least 6, 12, 18 months for a good platform to be put out there in the market, even at the speed of San Francisco, Silicon Valley area. But the challenge is, as we are building cybersecurity platforms, Gen AI is evolving even faster because Microsoft and Google and OpenAI, these companies have some extremely smart people. They're not interested in security. Security is the premise of Cisco and Palo Alto and other companies. These tech companies are interested in putting out super fast tools, which is their job. Well, how do we create a cybersecurity platform that can match that speed and evolve? It's almost like that. Maybe many of you are too young to remember Skynet from the old Terminator movies. It's a learning and evolving beast, very similar to what Gen AI is. So the cybersecurity gap is very real. It's a matter of time before we start seeing significant hacks occurring for companies that use Gen AI. The other challenge also is every company, let us say you have one biotech company that's making liver cancer medication, and we use Microsoft Copilot to understand the liver cancer manufacturing processes for those drugs. As Copilot learns how those drugs are made, a competitor who also uses Copilot could very well ask Copilot, how do I manufacture a product for liver disease or liver cancer? And the central database at Microsoft agglomerates the learning of Copilot across all these companies and may very well spit out the answer to a competing company saying, well, here's how this particular product is being made. So protection of intellectual property is also an extremely significant risk with Gen AI. Not necessarily because of malicious actors, it could be accidental exposure. And again, the cybersecurity platforms simply don't exist to address the IP threats posed by Gen AI.
Interesting. Yeah, it's going to be Wild West, it feels like, for a little while here. So, yeah, this is awesome. You really have exposure to some quite a few different areas within Gen AI. What advice would you give to a younger engineer trying to get into Gen AI?
So there are three areas where we're going to be needing a lot of professionals in the Gen AI space. One is in the creator space, one is in the seller space, one is in the user space. But what that means is the Gen AI creator space refers to people who have the programming skills, who can work for technology companies and help create, evolve, develop, and refine Gen AI tools. So that is one big area. This would be somebody who may want to study computer science and therefore be able to program new Gen AI tools. That is the creator space. Then there is a seller space. Obviously, like any new technology, we're going to need people who understand enough about the technology and have a sense on the pulse of the marketplace to be able to position the right go-to-market strategies so we can take those Gen AI tools and sell them to the appropriate potential customers. That's a pretty significant need. And one might go so far as to say that it's the salesmen who make the significant money as well, not just in terms of financials, right? The salesman's job is a little nicer than just money. It's about making sure people who need the tools have access to it globally. So the seller space, this could be for somebody who studies marketing or sales or gets an MBA, who may want to become a salesperson as part of a technology company to sell these products, right? That's the second bucket. And the third bucket is in the user space. This is an interesting one because a lot of the industries that truly desperately need the efficiency that Gen AI can provide, they're not technology industries. Aviation, transportation, pharmaceutical, biotech, medical devices, hospitals. These businesses are not in the business of making software or Gen AI tools, but they have so much inefficiency in their operations that Gen AI can help them significantly. The problem is a vast majority of people in, say, biotech, they know the biotech processes. They don't understand what Gen AI can and cannot do. The technology companies and the creator teams, they know how to create Gen AI tools. They don't know anything about how to make it work for a particular industry like biotech. So that's where we have the concept of the user. So you're going to have people who are maybe chemical engineers like me or mechanical, electrical engineers who built a career working within individual industries like automotive, aviation, you've got biotech and so on, who understand the business processes and develop enough tech savvy either through training or advanced coaching or specific master's programs to be able to take the Gen AI technology and apply it to their specific business needs. So you could choose to be a creator of Gen AI, seller of Gen AI, or a user of Gen AI. In terms of the sheer volume of opportunities, the opportunity volume is much higher in the space of users. Because again, there are very few people who know enough about individual industries and enough about Gen AI and have the leadership and charisma to make it all come together and work. So that's kind of the niche that I've been in, not by choice, but it so happened that niche is wide open. So creator, seller, or user.
Yeah, interesting. It's almost like everyone is going to have to be able to learn how to at least use Gen AI. almost every single job.
We've heard of this comment that, oh, Gen AI is going to put people out of work and it'll take away everybody's jobs. The reality is, if anything, Gen AI is going to drive creation of more jobs. However, people whose roles or the roles that are going to be at risk from Gen AI are the people who refuse to accept the prevalence of Gen AI and stay outside the fray. No one today, student or professional, can afford to be outside the Gen AI revolution. You have to participate in it and find a niche. If you don't, you're going to find yourself being left by the wayside pretty soon.
Yeah, yeah. So I'm curious, Ram, you seem like you're on the very cutting edge, and you just seem like you have kept yourself sharp over throughout your career. I'm curious to hear from you about how you think about education. What are some of some of maybe your best experiences in education or worst experiences or just how you think about it?
So, when we set our goals when as young people starting a career, about 50% of our goals typically are directional goals. So in my case, I grew up practically homeless in India. I said, I want to go to the United States, the greatest country in the world. Right? Sounds cool. So I found out the way for me to get here was to get a diploma in engineering from the Indian Institute of Technology in India. I said, okay, I'm going to go to this school and I'm going to get this degree that's going to open doors for me to the rest of the world. So basic goals like that compose 50% of the path we take. The next 25% of how your life shapes is about taking advantage of opportunities that get presented to you. I had no idea what pharmaceutical industry was. It so happened when I came to the United States, got my master's in chemical engineering, I was getting that in Philadelphia, which is a big hub of pharmaceutical industries. So my internships and first jobs were in the pharma industry. When I went in, I got a chance to go in. I said, wow, this is a fantastic industry. So I took advantage of that opportunity. Some people also resist it, saying, I don't want to do this. I want to do something very specific. I want to design chips or what have you. So 50% is about basic plans. 25% is about taking advantage of opportunities when they come to you. The remaining 25% is where, as you mature as a professional, you'll have to make some deliberate pivots. Early in my career, I was getting pulled deep into the quality assurance, quality control function, regulatory function within healthcare industry, which is a great
Mm,
function. But I found it to be somewhat uncreative from my perspective. So I deliberately made a decision to pivot away from quality assurance, quality control, get more into information management systems. So 25% of people's careers and goals in lives take shape based upon the deliberate pivots that they make. Some may fail, some may succeed. In terms of gratefulness, and the one decision I made that I'm so happy about is that I was able to get into this Indian Institute of Technology in India and get my bachelor's degree in chemical engineering there. It wasn't all easy. I flunked the first time I gave the exam. You're supposed to be 18 and finished with high school when you give the exam. I was too eager. I wrote the exam when I was in the 11th grade and I did not make it. So it was disappointing. But then I was able to get in at the right age at 18 when I finished high school. It was not easy. The people talk about acceptance rates for Harvard and Stanford at 13%, 20%. Well, the Indian Institute of Technology acceptance rate is less than 1%. When I appeared for that competitive exam to get into engineering, there were 2,000 seats all over the country. There were 200,000 people who applied for it.
wow.
Over time, the competition became so intense, the Indian government said, we're going to open more campuses, give you more seats. Now they have 5,000 seats. Unfortunately, 500,000 people are competing for it. So one thing I'm very happy about was that I had the family support and hard work and some guidance by my brother who was already in that school to be able to get in. And that brand has really helped me significantly open doors to this day. So getting that basic educational foundation, I think I'm very grateful for that. That was a fantastic experience. The level of competition, the people I went to school with are now CEOs of half of the Silicon Valley companies, incredibly smart people. I knew them when they were my peers. I look at them now as superstars in the industry, and they've all carried that sense of competition. We have to do more. We have to push the limits. When you are around that type of invigorating people and environment, it just helps you and forces you to grow. It's to this day, it's an experience I will cherish. In terms of bad experience, I won't say there's been any specifically bad experience or worst experience. I made one major mistake, I would say more on the professional side than the educational side. As you get into the later stage of your career, the last 7 years in the second phase of my career, you get more responsibility. You can see the potential. You can earn more and have more influence and have more power and a bigger team and get more accolades. And it's so easy to get caught up in that. Over the last 7 years, I've been on this incredible journey. I was given opportunities to build and run $1 billion global manufacturing facility. It was an absolute privilege. I threw myself into it with full gusto, delivered success, got some financial success, got some recognition. In the process, I completely destroyed my health over the last 7 years. I went from a strapping, muscular young fellow boxing, lifting weights to an old-looking person whose back hurts when you stand up. That was a lesson to me that whether in education, whether in professional career, you've got to take care of yourself. It is so easy to fall for that same competitive spirit that got me where I am, also has potential to eat me alive if I don't control it. So it's really about setting some priorities. I want to get ahead, but here's the boundaries I want to set for myself. I saw the same thing happening educationally. I know a lot of people that I went to school with who were extremely academically focused, but not necessarily business savvy or social or develop the soft skills. There's a saying that there's a company that used to be called Kinko's, the original photocopying business. A lot of young people don't remember it. Billionaire, a gentleman that founded it, was dyslexic when he was a young man. What he explained was, I find that in life, the A students end up reporting to the B students, the C students, the top executives, and the D students like me own all the businesses. That's just one example, but it's important to note that going to school is not just about getting technical knowledge. Yes, you should be good at what you do. That's table stakes. You've also got to have the balance as a human being. You have to have empathy for people, build relationships, and be able to relate to people on a person-to-person level. So I made that mistake of forgetting that and throwing myself into work driven by the competitive spirit, and it almost cost me my health, and now I'm recovering slowly. So I would say that's something I would ask people to keep in mind.
Wow, yeah, that's very wise counsel. I'm I'm curious to hear a little bit about the culture at in India Institute of Technology. Was it very competitive? Were you collaborative? Like, how did that, how was that experience?
So it was ferociously competitive, but not necessarily where people are trying to pull each other down. If you look at chemical engineering as a group and computer engineering as a group, there were very good relationships between the different groups. But within the same group, chemical engineering, during the first 3 years, there was not much of a challenge. But as we went to apply to the premier United States universities to get scholarships and so on, it became a situation where everybody wanted to go to the Caltechs and the MITs and so on. So what was happening was people were competing with each other for the small number of scholarships available in the US colleges. It was self-defeating. So our senior group, and IITs have been around for a long time, so our senior group set a standard. They said, every single student can pick one university first in the first round, then comes the second round and third round. So each person has a chance to apply for similarly positioned universities for scholarships. The last thing we needed was for our own class to compete with each other and cannibalize each other's opportunities. So it would have gotten really bad, but over the years, our senior classes had set a precedent that here's how you apply, so you don't kind of trample over each other. And that has worked extremely well, with the result that the United States has a lot of fantastic schools. And so the IIT name and students have distributed themselves in different parts of the country. The competition is very intense in the sense you have to give your GRE or GMAT exams to come to the United States to go to a master's program. And so when I was the seventh in my graduating class and I thought my life was over, oh my God, I'm a loser, I'm seventh, what do I do? It's only when I came to the United States that I found I was the top 0.5% worldwide. I thought, okay, that's what my competition has taught me, to really push as hard as you can without trying to negatively impact somebody else. Because there's a fine line between high performance and competing in a negative manner. The negative competition doesn't help anybody. Either you win and somebody is resentful, or you lose and you're resentful. So the atmosphere was one of collaboration across departments, some competition within departments. But what I do remember was the cool ideas people were coming up with. It was just absolutely amazing to see just over dinner, people would talk about different things, different kinds of programming. Back then, we were doing computer programming on mainframes using punch cards. So long time ago. And it was just amazing that if there was a problem presented at dinner time, hey guys, I'm dealing with this, what do you think? And somebody from electronics engineering who had no idea about chemical engineering, they would help me solve a problem with filtration because the methods of science are similar across different groups. I thought going to school with some very smart people, very high IQ people, I think it was just a very exhilarating experience. It was an absolutely amazing experience. I wouldn't trade it for anything else. I'm grateful I had that opportunity.
Yeah, I love that. That's amazing. So, yeah, this has been amazing, Ram. Thank you so much for sharing your story and joining us here today. Any other final thoughts about Gen AI or advice for engineers looking to get into the space?
Yeah, I would say life's too short to live by rules made by somebody who's no smarter than you are. Gen AI is an open opportunity. Learn, listen, and chart your own path. There's so much happening. People are entering college today. In 4 years' time, when they come out, Gen AI will not be recognizable. It'll be right now we're in Gen AI version 0, not even beta version.
Mm-hmm.
So be prepared for rapid change. Keep an eye on what's happening in the industry. Connect with mentors in big tech companies like the Googles and the Microsoft. The best advice I can give people is at the personal level on your own computer, start using the existing Gen AI tools. Most everything is available for free. Download the free versions, play with it. You, as a new entrant into the Gen AI market, could probably come up with ways to improve the tool that experienced programmers haven't thought about because you're coming with a very fresh mindset as a user. Oh, here's how it looks to me. The purpose of the Gen AI tools is not to be so complex as to make it intimidating for people. The purpose of Gen AI tools is to make it easy for anyone to use. So if you start using the tool, you can follow its evolution, version 2, version 3, and so on. By the time you graduate, you'll already have a grasp not only on how it works, but perhaps you'll find some areas of improvement. And then when you go to your interviews with the Googles and the Microsoft, you can share that in a polite manner and see where that takes you.
I love that. I love that advice to just download it and play with it, and you never know what you're going to find. That's beautiful. Well, thank you again, Ram. Everyone, Ram Bulusu, we're so uh, grateful to have you on the show today. Thank you for sharing your story and for your advice. And yeah, we'll stay in touch.
Absolutely. Good luck all and look forward to what you all achieve in the future. Thank you so much and you have a great day.